Okay, we are live. Baruch Hashem. Took us a little while. Yeah, I'm back in the old studio. That's just what had to happen for reasons. I'm back in the old studio at home in my garage. This is my garage. You don't realize that. We're back here, Baruch Hashem, better late than never. Most people watch this on replay anyway. Usually live, we have a few hundred people, and then over the week, another couple thousand people usually watch it. So most people aren't even going to realize we started at 9:55. We're supposed to start at 9:30. It's 9:55. I'm going to make a bracha on my orange juice. Baruch atah Adonai. Yum. Okay. We had an amazing event last night at the SoulWords house, Baruch Hashem, in honor of Tu B'Av, which is called Yom HaShidduchim, special holiday historically connected to the idea of marriage, matchmaking and marriage. Yeah, it was beautiful last night at SoulWords house. We had Tzipora Grodko from the Stories of Hope podcast. We had an honest discussion of Shidduchim. It was gewaldic. I don't want to give you the link right now because then you're going to leave this and go watch that. And, you know, can only do one thing at a time. But, yeah, it was pretty awesome. The live stream is, you can replay the live stream. I forget what it's called, honest discussion of Shidduchim or something like that. It was really good. Anyways, Baruch Hashem. So that's that. Also want to remind everyone that we're still in the midst of our annual campaign. We're almost done, really. It was supposed to be over a long time ago, but whatever. Hashem had different plans. So our annual campaign is still going on, but we're almost there. We're so close. We're almost 90% of the way. If you could donate any amount, really, literally any amount at charity.com/RST. That's charity.com/RST. The link is actually in the description of this video. So if you're watching us right now on YouTube, just look in the description, click on that link. Any amount, even $1 gets us closer. And it helps us to do events like we did last night, which was a beautiful event. And just in general to pay for all the technical stuff. You guys don't realize how much technical stuff is involved. Gosh, it's so much more complex than you realize. Okay? And I'll write it in the chat for the people who are on here, live, charity.com/RST. And if you donate live during the Callin Show, I'll read your dedication as long as it's not pornographic or blasphemous or threatening or hate speech or weird. Well, it could be weird, but it has to be benign weird. It can't be like hostile weird. Okay, that's that. And I want to do one more thing, which is I want to tell the Instagram people, you know, I have like 570 something thousand followers on Instagram. Is that crazy? Yeah, I have 573,000 followers on Instagram. That's amazing. Okay, I'm going to do a little something real quick, though. Okay. I'm going to go live for a second. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm simultaneously, the people on YouTube see me, whatchamacallit, I'm simultaneously live on Instagram right now. Okay. There's no one coming on yet. Now people are starting to join. Okay. I'm starting this live Instagram because Baruch Hashem, we have 570,000 followers on Instagram, which is pretty cool. And we want to let you know that we're doing our live weekly Thursday night call-in show right now on YouTube. Okay, so what you're going to have to do, just YouTube people, 1 second, I'm going to talk to the Instagram people. Okay, Instagram people, what we want you to do is go to YouTube, okay? It's in my bio. If you care, you can go to my bio, and look at my YouTube channel, and go to my YouTube, and go to the live call-in show, Thursday night live call-in show. Okay, I think that's it. That's all I'm going to say. All right. Okay. I don't know what the point of that was, but maybe it'll gain us a couple more viewers. All right, I'm going to put on my headphones. Okay, Yisrael, is the phone system working? Is the phone system
Yes,
working?
can you hear me?
I hear you, yeah. All right.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
We have our first caller. Yes, I hear you.
Our first caller is anonymous. Okay, great. So should we get our first caller on?
Yep. Hello. Welcome to the Thursday Night Callin Show.
Hi, Rabbi. How are you?
Baruch Hashem, I'm very good. How are you doing?
Good, Baruch Hashem. Thanks for taking my call.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Okay. So what are we talking about tonight? I don't even know.
Okay. I have a question for you.
Okay.
How does one deal with co-parenting with a parent who does not care about the child's well-being and is doing the opposite to the child?
Okay. So I'm going to be very forthright with you here. I'm going to skip all the niceties. And first of all, I want to validate that I believe what you're saying, but I also need to give pushback. Okay. So I it's not nice to start right away with pushback, but I think it's just going to be helpful. Okay. And my point here is to be helpful. So here's my pushback. You made a statement, which is a very sweeping statement, a very strong statement, that the co-parent not only does not care about the child's welfare or well-being, but quite the opposite, which the opposite of that would not only be they don't care, it would be like they have some vested interest in, God forbid, undermining the child's well-being. So that's a very strong statement. I'm not telling you I don't believe you, but I want to push back against that just because it's so exceedingly rare. It's not unknown, but it is exceedingly rare for a parent, even a parent who's not particularly emotionally well. It is so exceedingly rare for a parent to actually purposely, willfully undermine a child's well-being. So can I push back a little bit and let's kind of figure out where the truth is? Because it'll just be more helpful for you in navigating this.
Sure.
Okay. So do you want to adjust this statement, or do you want to double down on it and back it up, or help me understand it? What do you mean? The co-parent doesn't?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
I can go with an example if that will
help. Yeah, sure. That would help. Yeah.
Okay. My daughter came to me with a concern that is a big concern. And when I addressed it with her father, he denied it and is denying help for the child.
Okay. And I'm assuming in this situation you're talking about, because people can use the term co-parent even for a married couple, but we're talking about you're not married to the,
Correct.
To your child's father. Okay. So your daughter came to you with a concern, a general concern or a specific concern about her father?
A specific concern about something happening in the home.
In the home. You came to him and said, hey, she's not okay with that. And he was like, what? Well, that didn't happen? Or
You're lying.
Yeah, it happened, and who cares?
You're lying.
You're lying.
No, you're lying. It's not true. Who's
lying? You lying or your daughter's lying?
You're lying. No, you're lying. It's not true. Who's lying? You're lying. It's not true. Who's lying? You're lying. No, you're lying. It's not true. Who's lying? You're lying. It's not true. Who's lying? You're lying. It's not true.
Who's lying? You lying or your daughter's lying?
it was told to both of us that we're lying.
You're both lying. Didn't happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
It didn't happen.
Didn't happen. Based on your experience with this person who, I mean, you have a child with him, so I assume you know him somewhat. Obviously, you can't know with 100% certainty, but is it consistent with this person's history to gaslight like that, to just flat out deny something that everybody knows is true?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you believe your daughter, and
yes, I do.
Yeah. And you think that her father is just flat out gaslighting, denying. Well, okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's a tough one. Okay. So that's essentially your question. But I want to push back and say like this. Remember I said I have a hard time accepting the original premise that the co-parent doesn't care for the child's well-being, or even the opposite, like actually wants them not to be well. Okay. I'm going to actually still push back against that. And again, for the purpose of being helpful, I want to help you here. And I think, because right now, if you just say, I'm dealing with somebody who doesn't care about their own child and actually has bad intentions toward their own child, that's like so basically it's an insurmountable problem. How do you even deal with that? You don't deal with it. The only way to deal with it is by not having to deal with it. But I want to push back and say maybe we could reshape this narrative a little bit and be a little bit more accurate. How about this? I'm going to throw something against the wall and see if it sticks, okay? And I'm going to trust you to guide me if there's truth to this or not. I would say like this, knowing very, very little. I know nothing. I really know nothing. But I'm just, chat GPTing it over here and using... like, well, you know how chat GPT, it's basically predictive text, like when you do predictive text okay, that's how chat GPT, it's a language model, this predictive text, but it's based on patterns. So I've been doing it long before chat GPT was doing it. It's called pattern recognition, and I'm 90% I would say 90% right. But that's why I say if I'm wrong, just tell me. Okay. Here's what I'm saying. Based on the tiny, tiny specks of information that you've given me, I would like to reframe it like this. Your ex, your child's father, instead of saying he doesn't care about his child's well-being, I would like to reframe it like this and say something a little bit different. There are things that he cares about way more than his own child's well-being, to the extent that those things cause him to do things that if he were thinking straight, he himself would be ashamed of. And in fact, maybe even is ashamed of, which is why he lies about it. Is that possible?
Yes.
Yes, you're agreeing?
It is possible.
Okay. Is it likely? Meaning to say, let me explain what I mean. It's not that he doesn't care about his daughter's well-being. It's that he cares about doing what he feels he needs to do. And if having to compromise in his parenting in order to do what he wants to do, if that's what has to be done, then, okay, when push comes to shove, he's going to do what he wants to do. Meaning to say, I'm trying to say, it's not like if he had the option of doing right by his daughter or not doing right by her, he would willfully just pick not doing right by his daughter. He's picking the option of not doing right by his daughter because he's forced to pick that in order to get something else that he wants, which is more important to him. Does this make sense what I'm saying?
It does.
Okay.
I'm still trying to figure out what that is.
What that is? I know what it is, because it's 100% of the time, it's always the same thing. It's always safety, security. It's basic stuff, safety, security. That's always what it is. So I don't know what dysfunctional behavior he's engaging in, which his brain has decided symbolizes safety and security to him. But that's why he's doing it. And then you're telling him, well, you can't do that. That's dysfunctional. You can't do that around a child. And, he's not prepared to say, you're right, I'm going to stop that thing, because that would be like saying, you're right, I'm going to forfeit my own safety and security.
Mm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, let's say you didn't tell me what the behavior is at all, but let's say it's like an addiction. Let's say it's like, hey, you're using drugs in a house with a child. Well, I didn't do it right in front of her. You did it in the next room, and she knows that you're doing it. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm not saying it's drugs, but let's pretend that's what it is. So, somebody could say, well, this person doesn't care about their child's well-being. And I would say that's an oversimplification that's not going to serve you well in the process of strategizing what your next move is. I would say go back to the drawing board. Instead of saying this person doesn't care about their child's well-being, say this person cares so much about what their brain has been twisted into thinking provides their own well-being, that becomes paramount to the extent of thrusting aside their concern for their child's well-being.
Mm-hmm. I hear you.
So
I hear it.
Is this helpful? Is this kind of making sense?
It makes sense. It's like, how do you deal with someone like that? When there's a real issue at hand.
Yeah. So, can I ask you another question?
Sure.
Is this related to what led to the divorce?
No.
Okay. But am I right to say that it's some type of behavior that he feels he needs to do, and it's super important to him?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. And by the way, when I say that 100% of the time it's safety and security, because that's just the way the brain is wired. It's I don't like using these terms because a lot of these terms are these secular terms are based on models that I don't believe in which have a certain lack of spirituality in them. But for instance, the term like the lizard brain, right, or limbic system, right, brain stem. So just for a disclaimer, and people can decide to not trust me or like me anymore. But one of the reasons I don't like it is because it's kind of Darwinian. And someone asked me once, "Do you believe in Darwin?" I said, "Of course, the man existed. There are pictures of him." But no, I'm not into the whole evolution thing. You could decide that I'm a barbarian, and you could stop listening to me and decide that I'm stupid now. But no, I don't. So I'm not. When I say like lizard brain, I don't mean like in an evolutionary type of way. But what I do mean is the way that people are wired. And by the way, if I would use the Hasidic mystical metaphysical terminology, I would say the nefesh hachayunas habahamis, the enlivening animal soul. Okay. But at any rate, there's this basic impulse for survival and self-preservation that's always looking for safety and security. Now, it's a funny impulse because it gravitates toward really basic stuff, coarse stuff. It's not interested in abstraction. In fact, it can't even comprehend abstraction. So things like spirituality or even things like morality are completely foreign to it because it just doesn't have the ability to to grasp abstraction. What does it grasp? Very physical things like bodily needs. So basically, I'm going to say, food and sex. So basically what it comes down to is self-medicating or self-numbing behaviors, addictive behaviors. So it's basically either, like drugs, pornography, something else that's sexually inappropriate. Those are the types of behaviors that people get really, really locked in on. And then even though you come to them and be like, hey, as a moral person, as an adult, who's charged with caring for a child, don't you know that's wrong? Like, don't you? And it's like, well, that my thinking brain knows that it's wrong, but I'm not in my thinking brain right now because I'm just trying to get safety and security. I'm registering some type of cue to, some cue of threat to my survival. And this is what I have to do to self-soothe. And now you're going to come talk to me about morality. I can't afford to have a discussion about right and wrong over here. I'm trying to survive. And that's why, like, when you're saying, like, how do you even talk to a person like that? And you're expressing that frustration. Yeah, it's the frustration of, I'm trying to talk about right and wrong, and you're checked out of any ability to speak about such abstract concepts because you are in fight or flight, like live or die, absolute, like, you're down in that lowest, most basic level of impulse. And so we can't even have a discussion about morality. And when I get called out, what am I going to do? I'm going to lie about it. Well, it's so stupid. Why would you lie about it? Like, we all know you're lying. Yeah, but you know what? I can't afford to have this conversation with you. So what am I going to do? I'm just going to be impossible, and I'm going to stonewall you by lying. I know that you know that I'm lying, but if I can just lie, it's so exhausting, you'll go away. And I know if I lie long enough, you'll just go away. You'll leave me alone, and I can go back to my numbing behavior. Is this consistent with reality? I'm chat GPTing it over here.
Yes. Yes. Very well said.
Okay. So everything I'm saying is consistent with the actual facts.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Does looking at it this way give you any insight about how you may want to deal with it?
It gives me a new perspective of how I view it, but it still feels impossible to deal with someone like that.
Yeah. Well, what if we were to introduce some truth? What if you were to say, listen, you can tell me I'm lying. That's okay. I think you know that it's not a lie. And here's the thing. I don't judge you for this. I really don't judge you. I know that you're doing what you feel that you need to do. But here's the thing. When your daughter is home, you're not going to be able to do that. So I think you need to make a decision. If this thing is really super important to you, to the extent that you're not going to be able to refrain from it when she's with you, then I think you need to think about this, make a choice. Maybe it's more important for you for now to do that thing than to have your daughter with you. And could you maybe make that responsible? As it would be very selfless of you. It would be very selfless of you. Maybe you'll make that decision that you, for right now, are choosing your certain behaviors, your certain, I don't know if it's a lifestyle, but because that's important to you and you need that right now. But it's not compatible with having a child in the home. Maybe you can make a selfless decision right now that while you still need to engage in that behavior, you're not going to have her around. Or you could decide you're going to refrain from it when she's around. But who are we kidding? You and I both know that that would be too stressful for you. And why should you feel stress? I don't want you to feel stress. See, I like it. I like it because it's compassionate and it's honest. I love, there's an expression, brutal honesty. I love gentle honesty. Like, let's be so real, realer than real, but not in a hurtful way. It's not, to the contrary. I'm trying to help you. I know it's too painful for you to act the way you need to act. Like, how long of a stretch is she with him for?
It's not too long, but
a couple days.
I definitely tried that. No, hours, but
hours.
It doesn't. Yeah, but
Okay.
it doesn't. That doesn't work. It doesn't work with him.
You've tried the approach of being like, listen, I don't need you to admit or deny because I know the truth, and I'm not faulting you, and I'm not blaming you. I'm not even judging you. I'm just saying
You can't have a conversation with him. It's impossible.
Impossible. Okay. So
it doesn't.
Yeah. I hear you. So he's totally locked in the survival mode. Yeah. So even more so than I thought, because I was imagining he kind of like fades in and out of survival mode and has moments. No, he's always in survival mode.
No.
Which is why he's always lying, because he says whatever he needs to do to get what he wants.
Any issue that's addressed, you're a liar. It's not true. And then he says conversation over, and that's it.
And it's because it's so effective.
It doesn't work.
It's so effective because first of all, he knows he's not fooling anybody, but he doesn't care. He's not trying to fool anyone. He's just trying to get you off his back so he can continue doing what he wants to do. And he knows that it's so exhausting to be lied to right to your face like that. It's so exhausting that eventually you'll just stop talking to him. And that's what he wants. That's his goal. Just make you be quiet. He probably feels better about that than something like overtly hostile or violent. If to get somebody off my back, I'm going to have to scream at them. I'll do it, right? But this is so much more pleasant than screaming at them. I'll just lie at them and lie in their face until they get tired of talking to me, and then they'll just never talk to me again. Good, problem solved.
Right, but it's dealing with that and then dealing with other people a step above him, such as therapists or schools, different things that, let's say we address an issue and then he says it's not true. So then it's like, you can't get anywhere with anyone.
Right.
That's where the issue is.
I bet everyone's super curious what the issue is. You don't have to say if you don't want to, but like, what's the thing that he's doing?
I'm not going to say it on here just for privacy purposes of my daughter and myself.
Good. Respect that. Okay.
Thank you.
And it doesn't matter, by the way. I mean, because we all know the category of things. It's whatever. Mm-hmm. Okay. It's unfortunate because we always want to be able to talk with people and reach some kind of compromise. But you're saying he's not capable of that.
No.
I mean, it forces you to then sidestep him. I mean, now we get to the domain where you got to call a lawyer, basically. I mean, I'm sure you do have a lawyer if you're dealing with this type of situation. Because now you're talking about, because now you're talking about, I would wish we could just talk it through, but you're not ready to talk. You don't want to talk. You find it excruciating to talk. So now, okay, fine. So there's no conversation. If there truly is no possibility for a conversation, then you're forced to just. I hate to say it because I don't like having to function that way. But if there's someone you can't even talk to, then comes a legal matter.
Right. Correct.
So it's not
Yep.
not ideal, but that's kind of what you're left with.
Any physics?
Yeah, I can give you a lot of chizuk. First of all, your daughter is learning from you how to deal with difficult situations. And she knows that you're taking care of her. She knows that you care about her safety and security. And she knows that you're able to deal with it in a calm way, even when there are difficult situations. That's important. That's important, that she told you something and you believed her and she knows you believe her. That's super important.
Yeah. It is. Definitely is.
Especially when, I hate to say it this way because it makes it sound like, even when you have a co-parent like this, I'm sure you have zero desire to vilify him in your child's eyes. I would hope so. And if, you need any reminder, even when a co-parent is totally dysfunctional, you gain nothing by vilifying that co-parent in your child's eyes. But
right.
Yeah. So that, Baruch Hashem. But what I will say is, especially in a situation where you took her word over an adult, that's very powerful. As far as, her feeling of connection to you. An adult called her a liar, and you know that she's not. So I would say, I'm sorry you have this difficult co-parenting situation, but I would also say, I think you're doing a pretty great job with your daughter as a mother, as an adult in her life who provides safety and protection. And you're doing it under difficult circumstances.
I try.
Yeah.
Yeah, extremely difficult.
Listen, I'm sure that many people will gain from that. I appreciate your willingness to have this conversation in a public forum. I'm certain that there are people who will gain from this because, as you know, I'm sure there are people who deal with similar situations. Some, more challenging, some less challenging than yours, but I think many people will relate.
Yeah, and I appreciate you taking the call and the time.
Of course. Of course, certainly.
Thank you, Rabbi.
Okay. All right.
Have a good night.
You too.
You.
Okay, be well. All right, bye-bye. Okay. All right. I mean, I love to be able to solve people's problems or show them how to solve their own problems and tie everything with a neat bow. But yeah, that's one of these tough situations where the challenge persists. There's really no. Yeah. Who do I hear on the other end? Is that you, Yisrael, or is there another caller waiting?
This is Yisrael.
Hi, Yisrael. How you doing?
I just want to take a moment to let everyone know that if they benefit from these calls or enjoy these calls, and take a moment to subscribe to the channel. And I think you mentioned previously about donating.
Yeah.
Now is a good time to do that. Also, I want to make a special mention and thank you to the sponsor of our call-in system to make it possible to have calls like this happen. 9x9 Tech. That's 9x9tech.com. If anyone has any phone system needs or could benefit from some super cool tech and options with their phone lines, you could visit the website and reach out regarding anything related with phone systems, whether it's for a small business or anything of the like.
Yeah. Okay. Any other messages you want to share, Yisrael? People want to hear from you, Yisrael. They want to know more about what you're into, what you care about, what's important to you.
I'm on the spot now.
You want to share with us a message? What do you like about the Thursday night Callin Show?
Callin to the Callin Show.
Callin to the Callin Show. Anything else?
Not off the top of my head.
Okay. Do we have any other callers?
Not currently on the line. I'm not sure if anyone else. That's a good time to mention. If anyone would like to call into the Callin Show,
What should they do?
if they have a question,
I'm going to write it in the chat.
If they'd like
Info
to,
at SoulWords.
they would like to discuss, anything of the like, they can email info@soulwords.org. If people are listening to this call and they find Rabbi Taub's advice helpful or insightful, they can either call in. If you don't want to do it on a public forum, they could visit soulwords.org/consultation. We have options there for people to call in, call you as well.
Yeah, but it's expensive, so save your money and just call into the Callin Show.
Callin to the Callin Show.
You gotta call into the Callin Show. Call into the Callin Show. Call into the Callin Show. I don't see any new donations coming in. I'm ready to read dedications for new donations to come to charity.com/RST. That's charity.com/RST. charity.com/RST. You emailed your number? Somebody's writing in the chat. Do 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 do. I don't see any emails. Dee dee ba ba na ma ma. Dee dam ba ma ba.
Rabbi Taub,
yes.
in the meantime,
Yes.
could you tell us a little bit about how we go from the 3 weeks to 9 days Tisha B'Av? It's like a full 3 weeks of restraint, or I don't know exactly how to word it. And then just in 1 day we go back to quote unquote normal life. Like, how do we take all that we lived with the past 3 weeks, the 9 days, and then Tisha B'Av itself? It's an experience going through it, and then in 1 day we're switching right back to normal life. Like, it kind of feels sudden. Is there what can you tell us about that transition, or how do we take what we grew with or learned throughout that 3-week experience into the next day, into the quote unquote normal?
Basically, what you're saying is, we had 3 weeks of mourning, of grieving the destruction of the Holy Temple in Jerusalem. And that came to an end after Tisha B'Av, which is the anniversary of the destruction of the temple. And Yisrael, could you mute yourself? Because I hear your street noises in the background. Okay, awesome. And then you're like, okay, so for 3 weeks we're mourning, and then all of a sudden, boom, back to normal. And not only are you back to normal, I will make your question even bigger. We say that Tu B'Av, which is the Shabbos, the 15th day of the month of Av, is one of the happiest days of the year. There were no greater holidays among the Jewish people than, this is the Mishnah in Tainus, than Yom Kippur and Chamisha Oseh B'Av. So how do you go, not only you were saying you're going from this low point all of a sudden back to normalcy. But it's even more than that. It's you're going from this low point, boom, to this super high point. But ain't that always the way? If you're going through...
I think my question is a little bit different. I think I used like the 3 weeks and the 9 days as an example. But I think it also, I'm asking kind of like experiences in our lives when, let's say we have a hard day or something's going on which is stressful, like the low you're talking about. And then like it's over in a sense, like you've been through that experience, you experienced it, you grew from it, you learned from it, whatever it is. And then like the next day you're kind of like, it's normal. You're not in that like grieving process or that, you know, low time anymore. You're out of it. It's over. It's behind you, but it's just the next day. And like,
yeah, but that's
you know, how do you transition?
Yisrael, my dear son, my dear sweet son. That was what I was right in the middle of saying. My dear sweet Yisrael, it's really sunshine. Listen. Yes, I understand. You're not just talking about the 3 weeks. You're talking about life. But listen, this is the nature of things. That's what I was saying. Ain't that always the way? That when you go lower, it's not just you come back to normal. You come to a much higher level. Why? Why does that make sense? Because seemingly logically, it doesn't make sense to go from one extreme to the other extreme. But when you understand the nature of the low points in life, then it does make sense. It's called Yerida L'Tzorech Aliyah, a descent for the sake of a subsequent ascent. You go low in order to go high. So it's not just, I was going through a hard time, and now it's over, and it's behind me, and now I'm in a normal place, or even an awesome place. No. It's not like those two things are detached. It's one process. It's not like, I was in a low place, now I'm in the high place. No. It's one process. It's, I went through the low thing in order to get to the high place. And this is what it explains, that the reason Chamisha Asar B'Av is such a great day. It says, okay, let me go slowly here. So in some places it says, the reason the 15th of Av is so awesome is because the moon is full. And then the question or the challenge to that is, but every month the moon is full. And then the answer to the question is, yeah, but this is when the moon is full after the worst day of the Jewish year, the lowest point, Tisha B'Av, the anniversary of the destruction. So when you have a high point that comes after a low point, it's not just subjectively, it feels greater. It literally, objectively, is a higher level because you cannot reach those higher levels without going through lower levels. So the point is that when you're going through a low point in life, a lot of times we think to ourselves, I just want to get out of this and have some relief. I just want to have this be over, have it be behind me. But the truth is, if that's all that happens, then it would have been better to never have gone through the low point, because all you're gaining after it's over is that you're out of it. That's like banging your head against the wall so you'll feel relief when you stop banging your head against the wall. I got a better idea. Don't bang your head against the wall in the first place. But what we're talking about is that there are certain levels that you can only come to through going through pain. And if it were avoidable, then your loving father, and I'm not talking about me, Yisrael, I'm talking, your love, although I do love you and I am your father, but I'm saying our loving father, Hashem, he would not put us through a challenge that could have been avoided. If there were a challenge that we could have avoided, then we would have avoided it. He wouldn't put it in our life. But when we do go through a low point in life, even if it's an exceedingly extended period of time, you should know that it's part of a process to take you to a higher level. And that when the low part is over, it's not behind you, you're actually bringing it with you, because that is what has put you at this higher level. And let me try to put it more practical. Whatever lessons that you learn while you're going through your hardships, sometimes they're lessons, like it's a cognitive thing. Sometimes it's more intuitive. It's like a sensitivity that you gain only through going through a hard time. But whatever it is that you gained as far as insight, sensitivity, knowledge, that is something you bring with you into the good times, which is why anyone who has insight has had a hard life. I don't know anybody who has insight who hasn't had a hard life. And you're going to say to me, well, how about this? I'll forego having insight, and then I won't have a hard life. How about that? I don't care about having insight. What does that gain me? The answer is, who said it gains you anything? It's not for you. It's for others. It's not for you. It's for others. If it were for you, how about this? Don't put me through hell, and don't give me the insight that I gain after going through hell. But it's not for you. It's for others. Hashem is turning you into a source of help for others. So let me ask you like this, Yisro. If you're going through difficulties, because that is the only way to turn you into the person who can help other people, isn't that a different proposition than saying, will you go through hell in order to gain something personally? No, you know what? Let's not. I'm not interested. But if I say, we need you to become something so that other people will benefit from you. But in order for you to come to that level where you're going to be able to help others, you're going to have to go through a period of hardship. It's a little bit different question. Okay, go ahead. But tell me.
Right. Also, what I was saying is that, like, the low points have rules. You know, like, let's go back to 3 weeks. There's regulations. You know, there's rules to it. Like, you're guided in the path of the low points. And we're not talking about the 3 weeks, we're talking about experiences. The experiences are in your face. Those low points are kind of guiding you. Like, you're kind of have instructions and guidance of the low points. My question is, the next day after that low point, like, you lived it, it's over. You don't have instructions. Like, the moon is just full. There's nothing you're doing. It just is the next day. It just is good. There's no instructions. There's no regulations, like the positive half, like the flip side of the coin of regulations. There's no dues. There's no instructions. It's in your face. Like, okay, the regulations, the down, the low is over. We're now in the past that
you
stage.
Don't get instructions.
All of a sudden,
but that's what I'm saying.
Right. So
you don't need instructions. Going through the difficult time did something to your brain. It changed your brain. Now, when you're in the quote-unquote good days, your brain is different. You will see things that you wouldn't have seen before. So you don't need instructions.
Right.
You just need to open your eyes.
So that's, boom, that's exactly what I was looking for. The instructions are open your eyes. You have all the regulations and instructions for the low. And then once you get out of it, your now instructions are, it's there. Just open your eyes like the moon. Okay, I'll take that. Thank you.
You know everything you need to know. You were prepared for this moment. And the preparation is what you just finished going through. So you don't have to. Right. Here's the thing. And then if you don't live something, you can never really know it. Even if you learn about it, you're just memorizing somebody else's knowledge. So then you need instructions typed up on a sheet for you. But if you lived it, if you went through that hell yourself, you don't need any instructions typed up. Your brain got changed. Your eyes got changed. Just open up your eyes and you're going to see things differently. You're going to see things the way that you need to see them.
Okay, and how do you open your eyes and live differently when, like, the low point is just one heel step behind you? It's like right there. Like, sometimes it's hard to, like,
Yeah.
It's like harder to open your eyes and like live with the experience you have. It's sometimes easier to fall back or think back to like the right behind you, that low right there. Like, how do you exercise? Meaning, I guess there's a lot of like, I'll say it again, rules, instructions, regulations when it comes to the low. In the high, you're saying it's just open your eyes to what you've just gained, the change that happened in your mind, and then go with that and grow and help others grow. But like it'd be nice to have like a, I don't know, a slogan or a mindset or a kind of an instruction to like ground you to the new phase, and like without having to look back at the low and like go back into it, you know?
I'm seeing if the people in the chat have any insight. Someone writes, learning Torah can also make you insightful. Yeah, but sometimes you got to learn it firsthand. Ein chacham kabal nesayin, like we say. What are you asking? You're asking how should you look at that period of time? The difficult period of time?
It's easier to be in the low phase because it's like happening. It's right there. It's like the experiences are more apparent. It's more like in your face kind of, or like the 3 weeks, there's actual regulations. Just to the high, it's just a matter of keeping your eyes open. Hello?
Yeah. Elaborate, please.
That's the struggle, I guess. I'll elaborate. I don't know like how to describe it. It's more like you have an experience which, you know, there's a lot going on in the experience. Like the low experiences are like a lot more like tangible versus the high, which is you're saying opening your eyes. It's not very tangible. And like us being people in this world, it's a lot easier to go back to the tangible, going back to like the regulations, the rules, the tangible things. So yeah, essentially you're out of that period of the low. But it's so easy to think back or go back to the habits or the regulations, the rules of the low. It's a lot harder to just open your eyes and live anew, you know, with those experiences.
You're talking about two different things. You're talking about the habits that perhaps you form when you're in survival mode going through a difficult time, as opposed to the insights that have become the second nature of your brain. Those are two different things. Yeah, that's.
I'm also referring to the emotions you go through.
Emotional habits.
Like you're given 3 weeks of regulated emotions, and the 9 days of like, okay, this is mourning, and emotional habits, correct. Like, let's say I'm out the other end. You know, you made it. You went through the experiences, and you've grown. You did. You see the growth you had. But the emotions, the emotional habits, however you described it, they're right there. And like the new period is kind of just like a passive experience. And for people, like for being a person in this world and being earthly, you know, passive is a lot harder than active.
Yeah.
Like surrender, bittul, is very, very hard.
The hardest thing.
Right.
Someone wrote in the chat, by the way, I think they're talking about you. They said, what does he expect? Unicorns? You have no response for that. Someone wrote, there's a part of our brain that only grows through hardship, and it makes it easier to handle hardship in the future. That's an important point, by the way, also. Anterior mid-cingulate cortex. So the growth and value of the hardship is intrinsic, but what's the question? How do I know if I surrendered or gave up? Oh my gosh, that's deep. So you ever heard that before? How do I know if I surrendered or gave up?
Did I ever hear what?
You were talking about bittul. Someone said,
right.
How do I know?
Exactly. That's exactly my question.
How do I know if I surrendered or gave
the
up?
line. Right. You're saying that this next period is just about like kind of existing and you know, like opening your eyes. But how do I know if I'm surrendering or giving up, you know?
Someone wrote here, it's like moving out of your home, I realized today. I can do it in 2 days, but that would suck because all of the boxes and work. Or I can do it slowly, 1 hour a day for an extended period of time. By the way, Tybal wrote in the chat that we have a caller, another caller. Did they call in?
There's no one on the line yet.
No one on the line?
Once they call in, we'll...
Hold on a second. Let's see. Let me just check the email real quick. See. Okay, so basically, what's your conclusion here, Yisro? Tell us, wrap it up for us. Give us some clarity. What should we know?
I think you wrapped it up pretty good. I think you summed it up. It's about that experience is not in the past, but you're present now also. Like those regulations that were put in place are to learn, to grow. And once it's over, you have to open your eyes and live those experiences, but not as lows, as highs. And the ultimate high is to go and then teach other people as well.
Yes, that's beautiful. And that's what I think the meaning of life is. In case you're wondering. Someone's writing in the chat, please can we discuss surrender versus giving up or numbing the pain? Yeah. Okay. So can we discuss this? What's the difference between surrender versus giving up? Okay. So here's how I see it. Surrender is when you are prepared to accept reality without any buffers, without any escape, without any numbness. You're just going to be fully present, even if it's excruciating. That's surrender. Because basically it's saying, God, I'm not going to try to edit this reality. I'm going to be just completely present and lucid in whatever reality you choose to create. And it can be very painful. Giving up is, who cares? Reality isn't that important anyway. You know what? I'm just going to go back to my dysfunctional coping mechanisms. And got to do, like the previous caller where she was talking about her co-parent who's basically just in survival mode and constantly just doing what he wants to do and lying about it so that he can continue doing it. That's called giving up. Giving up is like, I'm going to be a slave to my survival impulses. And that's it. I don't care. Yeah. Do we have this next caller on the line yet? So when we say Pesach, I'm reading the comments. So when we say Pesach Yudecha must be a lochol chayrotzain, how does that fit in with surrender? I don't know. Does it? Does it? We say to Hashem, open up your hands. Or you actually were saying it as a description. You open up your hands, Hashem. He opens up his hands and satiates every living thing with its desires. So how does that fit in with surrender? Yeah, well, part of surrender is realizing that this is true, that Hashem is taking care of every living thing. And if Hashem is taking care of every living thing, what are you straining so much for? Let him take care of every living thing, including you. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. 1 second, I'm checking the donations. Okay, so one of them is anonymous, $9, doubled to be 18. Everything's matched. Anonymous, no message, but for $9, effectively 18. No, hold on, there's one before that even. Nathan Lax. I saw you first on Instagram Reels, and I'm excited to see more. Thank you. Anonymous. Then, hold on, there's another Nathan. Yeah, okay, fine. All right, cool. And then there's an anonymous who gave to for the Cats team. $7, doubled, V14. Fantastic. All right. If that other caller didn't call in yet, I don't think we should wait around anymore. Tired too.
We have our next caller.
Oh, we do? Great. Hello.
They're on the line right now. Welcome to the Callin Show.
Yes, hello.
Hello.
Yeah, you're on the air. How are you doing?
Oh, great.
Fantastic. Okay. So what are we talking about?
Okay. So I saw your post and I was just wondering about, step parenting, and if you had any words of wisdom that you could bestow upon me regarding that.
Okay. So you ever seen this show called The Brady Bunch?
No, but I have heard of it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I was going to say to you, it's not like that. So you don't have to watch it. Anyways, is there a specific thing about step parenting, or just in general the challenges of step parenting?
Well, one specific thing is loving another person's child, but just always feeling like you're on the outside, because you're not like the real parent. But you do wind up becoming a parent, completely. Yeah. But it's just kind of isolating and very challenging in that aspect.
So I'm going to tell you something, and if it doesn't resonate with you, I want you to completely just reject it. You don't have to grapple with accepting what I'm saying. If it doesn't fit, then just send it right back.
Okay.
Okay. Here are my thoughts about step parenting. I think that step parenting in today's day and age has become inordinately difficult because of an expectation that's been placed on step parents. And it's fairly common. I mean, there are enough remarriages today, second marriages, where happens pretty often. You have a step-parent type situation, right? I think today's day and age, I don't know how long it's been this way, but, I'm 51, and I think certainly like most of my life, I've seen this, and I've seen it growing and growing. Who's they? I don't know, society created this message of like where this unreasonable expectation that you're supposed to have the exact level of relationship with your stepchild as with your own child. And I think that sets people up for failure. And really great step-parents who are really devoted end up feeling like failures because they can't live up to what a parent is able to do. And I just want to like explain that a little more. A parent is given a special superhuman ability from God to take care of their child. It's a special thing that a parent has for a child. Now, a step-parent can be a very important figure in a stepchild's life. They can be a mentor, a guide, a protector. They can be, like having, I don't want to minimize it by saying like a really important teacher who changed your life, because it's more than, a teacher. A teacher you might have for 1 year. This is someone who's in your life for many years, or for the rest of your life. But what I'm saying is, I think we do a disservice by just telling a step-parent, be a parent. It's a different role. It's not the same as a parent. It's a loving adult in a child's life who can meet a lot of that child's emotional needs. But at the same time, there has to be some recognition that there's certain things that just you can't do because it's not your own child. And, I've seen that step-parents who have the humility to recognize that limitation end up feeling a lot better about their role as step-parents and having better relationships with their stepchildren. So I don't know if that resonates with you at all, but, I definitely think that if you compare yourself to a regular parent, you're doing yourself a disservice. It's a different category. It's a different type of relationship. Like,
that does resonate.
It does. Okay. And what it means is like, you can look at your role as a step-parent and like, you're a person, I'm sure, who you work on yourself and you try to grow and you try to be better every day. So you can look at yourself as a step-parent and say, how can I be a better step-parent today than yesterday? Like, what can I do to provide more guidance, more love, more support for this child? But that's very different than holding yourself to the standard of filling the lack that let me put it like this. You cannot be a substitute parent. There's something that your stepchild can only get from their own parents that you cannot fill, and it's wrong to expect you to fill it. What you can be,
yes, I agree.
You're agreeing with that. What you can be as a supplement you can add to your stepchild's life. You can enrich their life, but a supplement, not a substitute. You're not replacing their parent.
Right. Yes, I agree with that, because it's impossible to replace someone like that,
That's right. You only have one mother.
Yeah.
And by the way, there are cases where, let's say, a parent is dysfunctional, God forbid, and where the step parent is way more helpful to the child than the actual parent. There are many cases like that. And yet you still can't compare the two. They're fundamentally different roles.
Yeah. Yes, I agree. Yeah. It's the expectation to fill those shoes is pretty impossible.
It's impossible. Right. And when you try to do something that's impossible, eventually you just give up. And then you don't even do what's possible.
Right. Yeah. 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 Maybe, I think what some people say is, the love that you have for your biological children is different than the love that you have for your stepchildren, but they're both unique and special in their own ways. And I can say that is true.
Mm-hmm.
And, it's not wrong.
No. It's a reality.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you.
All right. I'm glad that helps.
Yes, it does. Thank you very much.
Okay, my pleasure. Thanks for calling in. All right.
Yeah, no problem.
Okay. That was a nice call. Bye-bye. I'm going to read a dedication here. We just had actually 2 donations. Another anonymous donation, $5 doubled for 10. And then we have another anonymous, $36 doubled for 72, with a comment, which I'm going to read. Baruch Hashem, Mashiach now. I can definitely get behind that. It says BH, which I'm assuming is Baruch Hashem, Mashiach now. All caps now, exclamation point. I can agree with that. We want Mashiach now. Okay. Second. Yeah. I'm going to take a look at the chat. Ba-da-da-da-da. Do-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Callin to the Callin Show. You gotta call into the Callin Show. Call into the Callin Show. Call into the Callin Show. Dibba-dibba-dibba-ba-da. Yada-dee-da-ba-ba-ba. Oh. I'm looking in the chat right now. Any more callers coming in? Dee-da-ba-dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Callin to the Callin Show. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee.
Tati, we have another caller on the line.
All right. Hello, caller. You're live on the air.
Hi, Rabbi Taub.
Yes.
Yeah, hi, this is Menachem speaking. I prefer to stay anonymous.
Okay.
So just a few quick questions, and then I just have to jump off the call.
Yes.
Firstly, I would like to thank you very much. Am I coming through clear?
Yes, we hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So I think you know who I am, and I know who you are.
Yes.
But just for the public, we're going to keep this a stickle anonymous.
No problem.
Quick question. Okay, good. Regarding Tu B'Av, which is Shabbos.
Yes.
So, do you mind? You could probably do a better job than me. What's the history? He's brought down Mishnayos and Tainus. that the women of Yerushalayim would dance in the fields in white, and the boys would come and check them out.
Yes.
So, like, I just want to first just establish that briefly.
Okay, so you are correctly conveying what is described in the Mishnah, as you also cited the source correctly, the Mishnah in Tainus, that the B'nois Yerushalayim, the daughters of Jerusalem, used to head out into the vineyards dressed in white, and it was sort of like a pageant of sorts. And these are single girls, and then the single guys would come and sort of check them out. And then the girls would have an opportunity to sort of pitch themselves. And it's described in the Gemara that those who were beautiful would try to emphasize that aspect. They'd say, marry us for our beauty. And those who were from illustrious lineage would sell that. And then those who didn't have either of those qualities would appeal to the altruism of the young men and say, marry us for the sake of heaven. Marry us for the mitzvah. Yeah, so that was the scene. I don't know historically when that stopped, although if anybody tried it today, I think they would have, I don't know, how Menachem, how do you think that would go over if somebody would just open up the Mishnah and follow?
Right, that's what I was wondering. That's exactly what I was leading to. That's exactly what I was leading to. You literally took the words out of my mouth, or worked them out. Right. If someone did that today, like everyone meet up at, let's say in Crown Heights, give me an example, or in somewhere in Chicago, or somewhere, let's say in the Van Horn Park on Westbury in Montreal, Canada. Okay, calling all single buckram and seminary girls and age 18 and up.
Right.
You know, come hang out, barbecue tonight, blah, blah, blah. And on a Tu B'Av, speed dating. It's basically a speed dating.
It is a speed dating. It is. It's a speed dating. It's a singles event. And I think you could get away with doing it for people from a secular background. But if you did this for like the religious community, I think you would be shut down pretty quickly.
So in Chabad houses, I believe in Chabad houses, I think it's very popular. They call it a Tu B'Av, white party, and
no. White party is P. Diddy.
I'm sorry, I forgot. I don't know the exact word for it.
Sean Puffy Combs did white parties. I don't know, maybe the Chabad houses did Tu B'Av white parties, but they're definitely not doing white parties anymore. P. Diddy, his bacchanalians were called white parties. So I think that name was spoiled.
Again, it could be I have the name wrong, but I believe Chabad houses do something in honor of Tu B'Av, where the men and women, young men and women,
like the YJP programs, Young Jewish Professionals, you know. Yeah. But if you did this, let's say, for Yeshiva Bachram and seminary girls, you'd be shut down.
Yeah, it wouldn't go down.
It would not go down. Right.
Yeah. So I'm just wondering, like what's up with that?
I don't know that.
Seemingly, this is based in Gemara, and furthermore, what's interesting is. This is an interesting thing. It seems like based on what you said, that the woman would approach the boys and not vice versa.
Yes.
I always understood that the boy has to ask the woman out, the girl out.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting. The girl would. She would, I guess, I don't want to say make the first move because that might sound crass, but she would initiate. Yeah. I was very fascinated. Yeah, obviously there's other details. Why the vineyard? Why specifically the vineyard? Yeah. So you want to try to revive this?
You
want to try to revive this custom?
No. I'm not going. I'm not going there. I have enough on my plate.
Yeah, enough going on. Yeah, it would be interesting to find out historically when the last time is that was done.
Yeah. I was thinking maybe your brother David could make a rabbit hole on this.
He would do well with that, and he probably could find out with his research team when that practice fell out of popularity. Yeah.
Because it's interesting. I find it fascinating how culture shifts and things.
Yeah.
Things change.
Well,
what's normal then today would be like it would be who knows what. I just can't even imagine if I made a fake flyer on ChatGPT and I put it out on WhatsApp, it wouldn't go down very well.
Yeah, things change. Like, could you imagine if you started a restaurant in Brooklyn where you sold kuta chabavli?
What's that?
Kuta chabavli is one of the most scrumptious Talmudic snacks. Kuta chabavli is breadcrumbs and cream and salt, and it was really popular in Talmudic times. And it's probably, someone could Google this, but it probably appears in Shas like 100 times. Kuta chabavli comes up all the time, but nobody eats that anymore. So I'm saying, things culturally change, they evolve. If you tried to sell kuta chabavli today, nobody would really bite. No pun intended.
Well, maybe the Cedar Church are very good in these things. So they could maybe revive it, to package it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe we could pitch it to them.
It's interesting. Do you think how did it go down on Shabbos? Like Shabbos, like what Tuba? What's it like?
And Tuba fell on Shabbos.
So Friday night. Yeah.
I'm thinking about it. There's nothing about that ritual I can think of that would be problematic on Shabbos. It's just dancing around in a field.
So maybe it's time to revive it, or you're not going to.
I don't want to do it because, who knows? Maybe there's a good reason why.
But I know at SoulWords.org /25785, you're accepting names up until Erev Shabbos, and for names of singles, people can submit names of singles to be brought to the oil in honor of Tu B'Av.
Right.
So I was wondering, maybe you have names. Maybe you could even start getting into the shotgun business.
That's interesting.
It's a good idea to bring names to the Rebbe, but maybe you could start matching names to. I don't know how you would do it, because you're not really taking you're not taking resumes.
No.
But maybe that could,
Right. I don't have any other information.
Would you be open to that?
Have names. You mean?
Do you do shidduchim? Have you done shidduchim?
I attempted shidduchim, like making shidduchim a few times. I never successfully made a shidduch. I don't know. I don't know if it's. Can I tell you something interesting? Can I tell you? Okay. There's a mimer from the Alter Rebbe, which explains the Gemara in Saita about Arboim Yom Kedem Yitziras Havlad, 40 days before conception. The Baskol, the heavenly voice, proclaims this girl is going to marry this boy. Okay. So, and it says that it's Kosha Kukriyas Yamsuf. It's like it's the miraculous splitting of the sea. Okay. That's what it says in the Gemara in Saita. So the Alter Rebbe, meaning the Balatanya, the first Rebbe of Chabad, he says, being that this whole thing is proclaimed in heaven, it's like this miraculous supernatural thing, it's very hard to make it work on earth. I'm not talking about marriage. I'm not talking about Shalom Bayis yet. I'm talking about just getting them together, getting them to meet and agree to get married. It doesn't follow the normal rules because it's from a heavenly plane. It's from, another level of reality. So he says, because of that, the only way to make it happen down here is you have to sort of break the rules. And he says, that's why every successful match has some aspect of falsehood in it. And the Alter Rebbe doesn't say this, but in other places, maybe you've heard this, it says that Shadchan, the matchmaker, is a Rosh Hashanah. Have you ever heard this? Shadchan is an acronym?
Yes, Sheker, David, Kesef, Noitel, something?
Yeah. Sheker, David, speaks falsehood, Kesef, Noitel, and he collects money. But the Alter Rebbe says that it's actually unavoidable. There has to be some deceit in every successful shidduch. Now, what does that mean? Because there's a prohibition in Torah against misleading people, deceiving people. It's called gnevas das, literally stealing someone's mind.
If someone is struggling with something, I assume at some point you got to be honest.
Right.
You can't just,
if to disclose
you can't dupe the girl into marrying you. Yeah.
Right. Or if somebody has some type of a struggle or an issue they're dealing with, it doesn't mean that they're not good marriage material, but there has to be disclosure, right? The other party has the right to know what they're getting into. So when we say that...
It has to be a right match, sure.
Right. So we're not saying that you lie about important information. I believe what it means is this. Actually, I was the other day at the SoulWords house. I was speaking to Rivka Krinsky because Rivka and Ida were doing their from what is it called, From the Inside Out podcast at SoulWords Studios, and she was going to a singles event in Muncie, I think it was. She was speaking. She asked me what to speak about, and I gave her a couple ideas. I don't know what she ended up speaking about. By the way, Yisrael, did you get the diapers? I gave Mrs. Krinsky the diapers to. She lives on Carroll Street, and Yisrael lives on Carroll Street, so she brought the diapers in her purse. So Yisrael, just let me know if you got the diapers from Mrs. Krinsky, and if you didn't, please go pick them up from her. What was I going to say? So, what we were talking about, the deceit, the misleading, the
diapers for shidduchim?
The diapers? No, it's a separate thing. My son needed diapers. My son needed diapers for his baby. And so I drove halfway to pick up from my wife. My wife met me in the parking lot of the Lens Crafters. Listen, this is important. My wife met me in the parking lot of the Lens Crafters on Sunrise Highway. And then I brought the diapers to the SoulWords house. And then Yisrael forgot them. And I gave them to Rivka Krinsky to bring to Crown Heights. But she had to go to Muncie for a single event. She was speaking there. How did I get on that? I was speaking to her, and right. So she, that she's a shadchan. Yeah. Okay. So, I was saying to her that suggesting matches is easy. Anyone can suggest a match. What a shadchan really gets paid for, and what takes skill, and what very few are able to do, is close a deal. It's very hard to close a deal. And in order to close the deal, there's definitely massaging of the truth that goes on. And what I mean by this is, again, not lying to people about facts about who they're marrying, because that would be terrible to mislead someone to get married to someone under false pretenses. But what it does mean is sometimes after a date, the shadchan calls the guy, calls the girl, and they give the report. And the shadchan doesn't exactly accurately convey how the other side felt. Because the shadchan's trying to push things in a certain direction, sometimes to create some tension, to keep things interesting, to keep it going, like suggesting, maybe you need to push more this way. Or sometimes the shadchan realizes, hold on, the opposite, you got to step back. You're coming on too strong. So shadchan will say things that are not 100% true to get the right emotional mix going on that will get things.
Well, what would be an example?
So instead of saying,
to say the guy is 6 foot when he's really 5'11".
No. What I'm saying is they went out. She calls the guy. She calls the girl. He says, whatever. She's nice, but it wasn't so exciting. Now, the shadchan doesn't necessarily have to tell that exact. Of course, she's not going to say that. And not just because it's impolite, but because that would kind of kill the deal. What you do is you try to keep both parties interested, and you tell her, he said that he really liked it when you did such and such. Maybe he didn't even say that, but it's just a way of creating more engagement. And then in the end, obviously, they've got to make the decision whether they want to get married. But what I'm saying is a shadchan will massage the truth about how each party was speaking about their experience on the dates in order to get it to close the deal. That's what I believe it means.
Another day, yeah.
Okay. Now, you asked me originally, am I into making shidduchim? So here's what I'm going to tell you. That was my very long way of explaining to you why no, I'm not into it, and I don't think I would ever be good at it. You know me, like you said at the beginning of the call. You know who I am, and I know who you are. You know me. I have certain strengths, and I have certain weaknesses. I don't know if you call this a strength or a weakness. I don't know which category it's in, but I'm very blunt and very honest. By the way, that's why I don't like when people call me for shidduch references, because I will always tell the truth. And people are so scared to tell the truth with a shidduch reference, they always assume that it's way worse than what I'm saying. Because what most people do is they take an issue and they minimize it, and that's what they tell you. But I do the opposite. I just say it the way it is. And then people assume they have to multiply it by 10 in order to get the truth. It's like if you see an article that says that the Chabad house had an event and there were 100 people. So it means there were 60 people. That's the math, right? So, okay. I am not good at playing with truth. I'm so blunt. That's why I don't think I could be a good shadchan.
Well, maybe, yeah, I hear that. Interesting. We're not sure why Tubav is not practiced anymore. Okay, listen. You got the names. And you're going to go Mitzvah Shem before Shabbos?
Yeah, we'll take the names in. Baruch Hashem, we have a Google Doc of the names. We'll bring them in. And Mitzvah Hashem,
That's it.
We'll see some...
SoulWords.org. SoulWords.org/
yeah.
Tuba of 5785.
That's correct.
And then I guess people can go... And then people could also submit their names and resume to Rivka Krinsky.
Yeah.
She has, you got to do stadlus. You got to make the case.
Do your stadlus. That is correct.
Her website is.
Do you know?
Her website is onesoul.org.
Oh,
One Soul, ONE, soul.org. Yeah, I just checked it up now. Okay. I Googled her name pretty quick.
Okay.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Thank you for taking my call.
My pleasure.
We'll share good news.
Amen. Okay, be well.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a great call. I really had fun with that. I'm just checking the donations. We have Rob Ram for the Cats team. $9 doubled to $18. Thank you. Rob Ram for the Cats team. Okay. I'm getting tired. What can I tell you? Yeah. I think we're done. I think we did a good job. I'm really tired. We're going to do this, God willing, next week.